At the time of this recording, there are just 4 teams left in the road to Vegas. These teams are the Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, and 49ers. In this video, I want to talk about which franchise needs the Super Bowl the most in terms of championship window, overall franchise history, legacy, and of course, ending their droughts. Without further ado, let's start with the team who needs it the least in 4th place. No question, this is the Kansas City Chiefs. Win, lose, or draw, any Kansas City Chiefs team led by Patrick Mahomes is already etched into NFL history as a world-class championship team. Adding another ring sure would put Mahomes closer to GOAT status, but it's not a necessity for how people view Kansas City as a city of champions. Now, if we were to be critical about this team's future, we can question the fact that 16 Chiefs players are bound to become free agents during the 2024 offseason. Of those 16 include some key core players like Chris Jones, Richie James, and then there's the 5th-year option on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So technically Clyde's not a free agent unless the Chiefs somehow really don't want him. But if they keep him, the main core will still be intact, and as long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy, they got a solid title window for many seasons to come. As a franchise, the Chiefs have 3 Super Bowls so far, one in 1970, one in 2020, and just last year in 2023. Going back-to-back would be really nice for this franchise, but it's not the end of the world if they don't. In 3rd place on who needs this ring the most, I'm going with the 49ers. Yes, it's been around 27 years since the 49ers were Super Bowl champs, but that doesn't take away 2 things. 1, they are a 5-time Super Bowl championship team as a franchise, and 2, Brock Purdy is just in his 2nd season with a wide title window for many years to come. At age 24, he's already playing like a seasoned quarterback with a QB rating of 113. Yes, a Super Bowl in this season would instantly catapult this franchise with the cachet to form a new NFL dynasty. Believe it or not though, the 49ers are actually the oldest team left in the title hunt as they have an average age of 26 years and 7 months. They are technically by average older than the Detroit Lions team, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, who are statistically the youngest team of the 4. So while Brock himself is just starting his career, this team is a veteran team who may look completely different by the time Brock himself reaches his true prime. From that perspective, you can argue that there's an urgency to win a Super Bowl now, but in the grand scheme of the league, they aren't too old of a team. 26 years and 7 months is not that old. The most important thing is if they manage to keep Chase Young on their roster, as he is going to be a free agent in the 2024 offseason. If they could keep him and continue to develop Brock in comparison to the 2 other teams ahead of this squad, I really don't think there's a huge urgency. Obviously, every franchise wants to win this year. The point I'm trying to make is the 49ers are built for the long haul. This team is not a one-and-done team. In 2nd place is the Baltimore Ravens. At the time of this recording, despite all of the playoff and regular season success, considering they've been to the playoffs 15 times since the year 2000, they are only 2-time Super Bowl champions. 2 is a whole lot more than a bunch of other NFL franchises, and their most recent win was in 2013. So how could a team that won a ring this century be ahead of a team like, say, the 49ers that haven't won at all since the 90s? What is the urgency for this franchise over the 49ers? The Ravens are on average the youngest team on this list too, with an average of 26 years and 2 months. So again, why do the Ravens need a Super Bowl more so than the 49ers? Well, for starters, I think the Ravens have some free agents that could drastically change the dynamic of their core depending on what happens this offseason if they are not re-signed. Mainly Gus Edwards, who is really underrated considering he's been a touchdown machine for the Ravens. While he's not a flashy running back, he's very skilled during short yardage situations and red zone situations, which is why he's so valuable for this team. I personally believe their window is smaller than the 49ers, plus Lamar Jackson is in the peak of his prime. This is probably the best you're going to get out of him aside from his previous AP MVP season. Compared to Brock, we probably did not see the peak of Brock's prime yet. The Ravens do have a sizable window. It's not the end of the world if they don't win it this year. They will certainly still be in title connection next year if they could keep their roster intact. But there is more urgency to get it done now rather than later when we compare it to the 49ers. And in 1st place, last but certainly not least, we have the Detroit Lions. What irony would it be if the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl in the same year the Detroit Pistons are the worst team in the NBA? Truly an equilibrium moment. Aside for this season, the last time the Lions won a playoff game was back in 1992, and the last time the Lions won 2 playoff games in the same season was all the way back in 1957. The Lions, of course, have never won a Super Bowl as of this recording, so as a franchise, this team certainly needs one the most compared to the other 3. Jared Goff is the oldest starting quarterback among the remaining playoff teams as he is 29 years old, and this season he joins both Tom Brady and Peyton Manning as the only quarterback in NFL history to lead multiple teams to at least 14 win seasons in the Super Bowl era, since he also led the Rams to at least 14 wins back in 2018. I'm sure that stat means nothing to Jared if I had to guess. The important thing that's on his mind is a title, especially when you consider the fact that the Rams immediately won a Super Bowl right after trading him. So Jared has a lot to prove that he too is a Super Bowl worthy quarterback. The Lions as an overall core moving forward might be in good shape if Hendon Hooker lives up to the hype, but that has nothing to do with the overall franchise's Super Bowl drought. They are the only team on this list that hasn't won a Super Bowl, and that statement alone gives them a worthy title to be the top spot as the NFL team that needs it the most. And again, this list isn't who's likely to win it the most, but who needs it the most. And that's who I think needs it the most. Let me know who you think needs the title the most. Don't forget to tackle that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. I'm Touchdown Rewind, and I'll fast forward to you later.